All right, we're going to go ahead and get started. Let me make sure. Can you hear me back there?
Yes.
Okay. I want to say good morning to everybody. I'm Stuart Cunningham. I'm the Public Information Officer for the City of Kerrville. I guess I better get it in frame here. And we just want to thank everybody for their interest in the 2024 Eclipse that we have coming up. We really appreciate all of you that have come on here this morning to ask questions about it. And we have 4 people here who have probably spent more time in the last 2 years learning about eclipses than most of the people in the world, I'm sure. But I want to introduce them. First of all, we have Kerrville Fire Chief Eric Maloney, Kerrville Police Chief Chris McCall, City of Kerrville Parks and Recreation Director Ashley Boyle, and Convention and Visitors Bureau President Julie Davis. And what we're going to do this morning, each one of them is going to start out with a couple of minutes about things that they've been doing to prepare for the eclipse. And then we're going to open it up to questions. I would ask that you send your questions via the chat room, and that might help us as far as trying to monitor all the questions and make sure that everything you want to know gets answered. But having said that, we only have an hour, so we're going to go ahead and get started. And so I'm going to turn it over to Chris McCall, KPD Police Chief.
Good morning, everybody. I'm Chris McCall. I'm the Police Chief for the City of Kerrville. We've been in Eclipse mode for about 4 years here at the City of Kerrville. We formalized our efforts in February of 2022 when our City Council established an ad hoc planning committee for the city. That committee included myself, Fire Chief Eric Maloney, Ashley Boyle from our Parks and Recreation Department, as well as Julie Davis from our Convention and Visitors Bureau. From that committee, we started our work researching and studying the eclipse and trying to get an understanding of what our response needed to look like. Part of that led us to realizing that we needed to break farther down into subcommittees, and we've done that through the ad hoc committee and created public safety as well as event committees, and then from there. As far as our response from the public safety side, our Fire Chief Eric Maloney has really led our effort and organized us in getting us pointed down the pathway and getting us started and well on our way to almost completion coming up on April 8th at 12:32. I'll turn it over to Maloney for some comments in regards to the public safety.
Eric Maloney, Kerrville Fire Department Fire Chief, and we'll be operating the Emergency Operations Center. So we've been working together as a city for the planning process, myself, the police chief, and really kind of working on the emergency management components that we anticipate. We've been doing a lot of research from the 2017 total eclipse that went through kind of the North American states, and so we've been focusing on that specifically. We have also worked with our county partners, and so we have a city-county emergency management planning team that also brings in our local healthcare, and working together collaboratively to kind of have a plan for the total eclipse that is coming. We do recognize this is a lifetime opportunity to see this, especially for the hill country, and that does kind of get exciting in regards to the opportunity that we're going to be able to have here in Kerrville. Our planning has really brought together all our stakeholders, our community partners, from TxDOT, DPS, the Texas Department of Emergency Management, local healthcare, our other local partners. And so we've been working on that directly over the last year, very intensively, to get us prepared for the April 8th eclipse. And from there, I'll turn it over to Julie.
Yes, I'm Julie Davis with the Kerrville Convention and Visitors Bureau. As a Convention and Visitors Bureau, our role has primarily been obviously being part of these meetings, learning what's happening so that we can share that on with, or pass it on to our partners and the people we work with. There's been a lot of time and energy spent on planning this and coming up with events to keep people entertained and having a good time while they're here. We obviously anticipate a large turnout, and we're excited about the really once in a lifetime experience that we get to have here, both as citizens and as guests to our community. We've been working with our hoteliers, area partners for months, if not years, honestly, but sending out information, compiling room availability, gathering information for safety management purposes, and of course, promoting the event. We've been talking about the event for a long time to make sure people are aware. Right now, we currently aren't sold out of hotel rooms, so I always like to let everybody know that. You can still get a room in Kerrville. We probably have about a third of our availability, 300 to 400 rooms. We do anticipate selling out. And then, of course, we're also managing information to get out to the community and our partners through a KerrvilleEclipse.com website. That website, as well as the social media tied to it, has a lot of frequently asked questions. It has a list of all the events that you can attend in the area that we've been told about. It has obviously accommodations information. As we learn about partners that are sold out, we mark it on there so that your time isn't wasted looking for a room. So at the top of the list will be hotels with availability. And then it also has a lot of information on things to see and do here. All I have, so I'll turn it over to Ashley.
Thanks, Julie. So I'm Ashley Boyle. I'm the Director of Parks and Recreation for the City of Kerrville, and our responsibilities include planning for the Kerrville Eclipse Festival, parking locations, shuttling to the festival, community education and information, working of course alongside public safety and the Kerrville Convention and Visitors Bureau, and providing easy access to Eclipse glasses to our community for eye safety. Our goal is to provide a mass gathering location for our community and guests. We know we're going to have a lot of folks coming to our community, and we wanted to provide a location for everybody to enjoy the Eclipse experience with our festival. We're very excited to announce that NASA has selected Kerrville as the only Texas location to live stream and broadcast the eclipse. They also broadcasted the 2023 annular eclipse in October. We have prepared frequently asked questions, as Julie mentioned, on the Kerrville Eclipse website, and our official pages for the eclipse, as far as keeping up to date with information, is the website is KerrvilleEclipse.com. Martin, if you can pull up that slide, that would be great. Just bear with us for a moment. Okay, so KerrvilleEclipse.com, this is our community guide, which we'll be posting very shortly. And then we also have frequently asked questions for our community. We know people have a lot of questions, so this is where we're pointing them to gather information. Next slide. And then here's our resources to stay informed for the Kerrville Eclipse. This is where all of us are putting our resources to this one centralized area for information for our community and for our visitors as well. And so now we'll turn it over for any questions you may have. Please submit them in the chat.
Okay, don't see any questions yet, but well, there we go. Very first question, Saburo with CBS National News. Thanks for your time. Bell County recently issued a state of emergency ahead of the eclipse. Is Kerrville County considering the same? We would like to film some of the prep work the week before with city and county officials. Who should we talk to? So I'm going to let, who would like to take that?
So we did recently see that Bell County submitted that also with San Saba, and we've read some other ones. Our county judge is currently in coordination with our surrounding counties as far as a disaster declaration, if they're going to be submitting one, and they are working together to kind of come up with that at the county level.
Okay, from Jamie Carter, how many visitors do you anticipate will wake up in Kerrville on April 8th? And B, drive to Kerrville on April 8th for the eclipse? And that's from Forbes. Julie?
Oh, I get to answer that. Okay. Well, so as far as waking up, let's see, we have 1,155 hotel rooms. If you put 4 people in there, what do you think? 4,500 new people waking up? probably a little more than that realistically when you add short-term rentals and people staying the night with family. As the drive-in one is tricky, right? Historically, people in a similar path as us in 2017, we've reached out to them and read after action reports. They suggest 2 to 3 times your population. And so I believe that's what we've been, right? Get some nods over here from the guys that are really planning on how many people will drive in. So 150,000, you guys, is that what you're still using?
So when we look at the planning process, we really looked at 2017 and really talked to the experts that follow these all over the world. A lot of the data that we found was 2 to 3 times the population was reasonable. I realized, I think the Forbes recently, I think y'all had an article, and I saw some other social media posts out there in regards to potential of citizens traveling from San Antonio, being the 7th largest city in the nation, to see the solar eclipse. It's also be mindful that the solar eclipse, when we talk about totality, is 100 miles wide. It starts in San Antonio and goes to the other side of Junction. So although we do anticipate that a large number of people from San Antonio will travel to get into totality, that does not mean that only Kerrville is experiencing the totality to be able to see. So when we read those data and read some of the other reports out there, experience total eclipse and being in totality is probably one of the biggest components that we see. So we're anticipating in the Kerrville 3 times the population and working with the county on that also.
All right, Benny Bryant from Telemundo. Benny, thank you for your question. Is there a designated place or location for news media?
Yes, there is. This application for the media is actually already live on the city's website, kerrvilletx.gov. And if you will navigate through the Kerrville Eclipse Festival page, you can find the application to submit. We have reserved area in Louise Hayes Park for the festival for media.
Okay. Tara Ramsey, with Nova PBS, we submitted our media application to cover the festival. Do you have an estimate of when you will notify media organizations who are accepted?
Yes, that would be coming soon. We are vetting all of the applications, and as soon as we have more information, we will push that out to you.
Okay, Jamie Court, a Great American Eclipse predicts up to 488,000 people will drive to Kerrville on April 8th. Can Kerrville handle this? Will any roads be closed in the Kerrville region around the eclipse?
So we've read that study as well. We're continuing to utilize our 2 to 3 times population as our estimate based on past eclipses and the information we've received through white papers and after action reports. I don't know that we could physically get that number of people into our region in the immediate Kerrville area. So I think some of the predictions related to that may be more hill country area rather than just Kerrville specific. I've read that same report and feel like that may be an impossibility to move that many people into our community or our general area. We are working with partners at TxDOT, Texas Department of Transportation, in regards to roadways and post-event particularly. As we've read after action reports, we've seen the issues around traffic in all the locations where people have gathered immediately post-event. We're working to mitigate as many of those issues as we can. You notice I say mitigate, we're not going to solve that issue, but we're going to do the best we can to move traffic through the city and to arterials that will move people back to their destinations. And we're partnering with TxDOT on that and have been in the works with them for about the last year, working through traffic plans to help handle that amount of traffic in our community.
Okay, Juliet Arcordia with NBC News. Do you plan to bring in extra law enforcement, emergency personnel, et cetera, for the day of the eclipse? If so, do you have a rough estimate of how many and where they will be coming from?
So we've had a lot of discussion around mutual aid and unfortunately, in our general area, everyone will be dealing with this same event. So we're going to make a request through our law enforcement partners in the region that are outside of the event area for a number of personnel. We're part of our issue is not only our event in our park, but also the traffic post-event. We've just received information from our partners at TxDOT with how many their contractors will be providing in terms of law enforcement to help with traffic control. So we're working now from that number to determine additional assistance we may need in that regard. Outside of that, we currently have plans in place internally to handle both our patrol operations as well as special event operations at our park with our internal complement of officers. But we'll be asking for partners in the region to assist.
Okay, Jamie Carter, how many visitors were in Kerrville for October's annular eclipse, and were any lessons learned? Who wants to take that?
So the visitors in the Kerrville October's annular eclipse is not the same as the total eclipse. Two very different components and very different research. We saw basically what the experts expected, a 5 to 10% increase, and that's about what we saw for the annular eclipse. We didn't use that as a template going into the total eclipse because they are two very, very different eclipses, and that was brought to our attention by those experts that also bring in from 2017, saying that we do anticipate the 2 to 3 times the population increase. So no impact to emergency or public safety.
Okay. Any more questions? Jamie Carter again, will schools and workplace be closed in the Kerrville region on April 8th?
So KISD, Kerrville Independent School District, has already announced that they will be closed on Monday, April 8th. It is up to the business owners whether or not that they will remain open or not. So that's just a decision that they make.
Additional questions? All right, is there anything else that any of y'all would like to add?
Just want to thank you for the opportunity to provide some information for our total eclipse here in Kerrville. So we're very excited for the opportunity coming up. We've done a lot of planning, emergency management to ensure the safety and security of our citizens and our guests. So, and we definitely ask you all to continue to watch for updates on our frequently asked questions. So at the kerrvilleeclipse.com, and we'll continue to update that as we approach the eclipse.
Well, see another question. How many eclipse classes does Kerrville have or expect to give away or sell? Jamie Carter.
So we have more than enough for our community and guests for our Eclipse classes. We are selling them at our Parks and Recreation Department located at Kerrville Shriner Park and also Kerrville City Hall. And then they will also be available at the Kerrville Eclipse Festival on Monday, April 8th. So we feel confident that we have enough classes for our community and guests, and they're $3 a piece.
In addition to that, a lot of local businesses also are selling them, and we were selling them at one time at the CBB. So there are classes out there to get for sure.
Okay, Juliet with another question. Will there be a media distribution list set up for additional releases, press conferences, et cetera? Thank you again. We can certainly set that up. Now that we have the list for the people who called in for this, we'll just continue to add we'll add all those names to all of our distribution lists as far as the eclipse is concerned. And so they'll be included on all future press releases.
We'll give some folks a couple of minutes to think of questions, and I'll cover the Kerrville Eclipse Festival for a moment while folks think of any additional questions before we sign off. So Martin, if we can get you to bring up those slides. Perfect. So again, it'll be held on Monday, April 8th in Louise Hayes Park in downtown Kerrville. Our goal is to provide an opportunity for an area for our guests and our community to have a gathering site and location. We know people are going to be coming into town. They would like a place that's designated to view the eclipse. Next. So at our festival, we plan to have educational eclipse workshops, scientific keynote speakers. We will have live music. Our headliner is Judah and the Lion. We are excited to announce that. We will have crafts, an educational center, food trucks, post-totality engagement, the NASA live broadcast, as I mentioned earlier, food vendors, and of course, this is free admission to our community, to our guests. You do not need to have a ticket to arrive. You just come and enjoy the park, enjoy the experience. Next. Next. Okay. And again, here is our formal resources for our community and media if you have additional questions. We have the great frequently asked questions information on there that should answer a lot of your questions as well. But we will turn it back over to the chat for any final questions.
Okay, we got one from Kelso Harper. Who will the scientific keynote speakers be?
So that is to be announced. We are still working on that, and we're excited, and that will be announced leading up to the event. I do also want to point out that we do have parking locations identified and available for the public for parking. We have a parking view location at our Kerrville Sports Complex that people can prepay and purchase a reserved spot there. They will have access to the complex, so you don't have to stay in the car. They can get out, enjoy the fields, enjoy our complex. There'll be food vendors, portable toilets, and resources there. And then we are also opening up in the next couple of days reserved parking with shuttles to the Kerrville Eclipse Festival.
It's not for me. The Eclipse doesn't have things besides the Eclipse Festival next to us, so.
I can't see the last one. There are several viewing locations that are event related in Kerrville. The Hill Country Arts Foundation, which is just outside of town, is having an event with viewing. The Quiet Valley Ranch, which is home of the Kerrville Folk Festival, they have an event with music, things like that, and viewing. The Coming King Sculptural Prayer Garden, otherwise known as the Cross on the Hill. So a viewing location on a hill overlooking Kerrville is going to be open. Let's see, I believe over at the Hill Country Youth Event Center, the Texas Lions Camp has an event with viewing. There are others listed on that website, the KerrvilleEclipse.com. And so we actually have a section for viewing locations and we have a section for events. And then if you go to that viewing location one, it's going to take you to those places where you can pre-purchase your ticket, like the ones Ashley mentioned at the sports complex, or it will take you directly to that events website so you can get more information.
Okay, we've had a couple more questions come up. One from Jamie Carter, and we'll get this one quite a bit. Do you have any advice for people driving from San Antonio on April 8th?
Yeah, the advice that we're giving folks is leave early. We expect the limited arterials leading into the Hill Country, leading into Kerrville, to be occupied with heavy traffic. And we would recommend folks leave early to get to the festivities, get parked and be in place prior to noon if you're planning on coming in and around the Louise Hayes Park event, because some of our traffic control efforts will be set up at noon. So we recommend folks be here prior to that time, be in place.
I think I'll also add to that is that remember the opportunity to view this is getting in totality. So any side outside of 1604, any of the parks along the way, is be prepared. Preparedtexas.org and be prepared. So if you're traveling with your kids, be prepared for that. So make sure you have the water. So make sure you have food. Make sure you have the resources. Don't leave your house on a quarter tank of fuel and expect to get fuel somewhere and not wait. And so I think the opportunity when you're leaving with family or you're leaving, go view, is find the area of totality. You can see the pass on the Great Eclipse. You can see the pass on ours, actually to where to get a good viewing spot for that.
I'll chime in here as well. It's recommended to bring cash if you're coming to the community, especially to the festivals. Cellular service may be impacted, and card processors could be impacted as well. So don't rely on cards or cellular service for processes, directions. Bring printed receipts and maps to the community if you're traveling here. That way, if there are disruptions, you have a backup plan as to find your location and where you're going, and you have your reservations printed for you as well. And then I would highly recommend reading our frequently asked questions in our community guide on the website. Provides great information for this purpose. We try to do our best to prepare folks that are coming into our community, what to expect, what to bring, how to prepare, and all of that's in the frequently asked questions.
And in addition to that, the Convention and Visitors Bureau Visitor Center will remain open that entire weekend before. The day of the event will likely open early as well. And so we do have printed maps. We have a great staff that can answer a lot of questions. We probably couldn't answer 150,000, but as many as you that want to stop, we're right as you come into Kerrville. So we'll be open and there to help direct you in a location to view the event.
Okay, another question. When is NASA expected to arrive, and is there an on-site contact?
NASA will be doing presentations in the community leading up to the event. So they will actually be here a few days before. They'll be doing a presentation at our local library on the 7th, and they will be on site all day in Louise Hayes Park for the live broadcast. For media contacts, information will be given to those that are approved. So make sure you submit your application, and then once you submit, we'll provide the contact for you then.
Okay, I guess we're winding down. If we don't have any more questions, we'll wait for another minute or so, and then we'll say thank you and we'll move on.
I thought of something I wanted to mention.
Sure.
So for people coming prior to April 8th, which I hope a lot of people are, so they can really experience our town and what it has to offer, our community has really worked well to come up with events and things for people to do while they're here as well, prior to April 8th. So I know April 8th is the grand finale and we're all excited about it, but just know if you're here on the 6th or the 7th, maybe even the 5th, there are other events and activities happening and other ways to keep you engaged while you're staying here. We've got a Callow Theater that's going to have a great show on the 7th, and a lot of other community partners doing all they can to make sure we all have something to do and we have a good time while we're here.
Absolutely, and we encourage everybody to check out what we have to offer in our community. As Julie said, we have a beautiful park system with over 25 parks, 1,000-acre of parkland, a beautiful river trail that provides direct access to the Eclipse Festival, and a camping park that we're still accepting reservations for dry camping for those that are looking for a place to stay.
All right, if that's it, and we have no more questions, we just want to say thank you again to everybody who's expressed an interest. We're all looking forward to this day. We're very excited about it. It comes with a lot of opportunity for us, a lot of challenges, but been working on it for a while now. So again, thank you very much, and hopefully we'll see you here on April 8th.